So hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to Kreatryx channel. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Vishal Soni and I have cleared engineering services examination 2 times from electronics and telecommunication branch, both times in double digit rank. In 2014 my rank was 98 and in 2015 my rank was 25th. I have served as a Group A Gastro Officer in Indian Railways and in Indian Telecommunication Services. So most of you must have been following me on the Kreatryx channel for electromagnetic field theory. So if you are a seeker of a free education, this is the channel for you, and you must understand that all these free initiatives is coming your way because of the Unacademy. So Unacademy is the revolution in the field of the free education and the affordable education. So how can you access those free courses? So if you want to access the free courses, you must immediately subscribe this channel, Kreatryx channel, because all the top educators of the country is providing the free course on this channel. And that free course is absolutely brilliant in content, that is systematic, that is organized, and that is complete. So complete playlist you will be getting of a particular subject. You can develop the concept, you can gain confidence. More than that, you can love the subject. So immediately subscribe this channel. Secondly, if you want to access more free content, then you must immediately download the Unacademy Learners app, because on the Unacademy Learners app, top educators of the country are conducting the free special classes. In that free special classes, you can get topic wise clarity of a particular concept. And do not forget to follow me on the Unacademy Learning app. So you can also access the courses. So you must have two things. First is your YouTube channel. This YouTube channel, Kreatryx YouTube channel, must be subscribed. Secondly, you must understand that you should have the Unacademy Learning app. That is must for you in order to crack the examination. So these are the parts of the free education. And if you want to organize your content well, if you want more comprehensive manner, if you want other advantages of the Unacademy, then what are the other initiatives that is running by the Unacademy? So another initiative that is running by the Unacademy is Unacademy Plus. So on the Unacademy Plus, this is very affordable for those who actually want to take their preparation to the next level. So आपको Unacademy Plus में क्या क्या मिलेगा? You will be getting the live classes on a fixed time, so that you can get more disciplined, you can get more organized, and you have something in your mind that at this particular time my classes are going to run. Apart from that, you will get free test series designed by the educator itself. So gone those times when we have lot of errors in the test series, we do not have the discussions of the test series. So there the test series will be conducted by the educators. They themselves will be discussing the solutions of that particular thing. So you can imagine that your preparation is going to the next level for this. Apart from that, those who have prepared themselves for the examination, so for them there are crash courses also available. Again the crash courses will going to help you in achieve good ranks. Those who have already achieved good ranks and want to improve their rank, for them there are rank improvement batches. More than that, you can also see that there are unlimited practice sessions. So what do you understand by unlimited practice session? Which means there will be various doubt solving sessions. Apart from the doubt solving sessions, there are weekly quizzes, and with the help of those weekly quizzes you can enhance your problem solving skills. So lot of unlimited doubt solving sessions, lot of quiz sessions, systematic content, structured content. You can download the PDF after the lectures, so you don't have to waste your time in order to making notes. You can utilize those times to practice the particular concepts, or you can use those times to just write down the formulas so that you can remember those formulas quickly. Apart from this plus subscription, there is also one subscription which is known as Iconic. So Iconic subscriptions are for them who actually do not have the self motivation but having the talent. So if they are having the talent and you do not have the self motivation, that how can I push myself to crack the examination, so in this Iconic subscription you will be assigned a personal coach. So this personal coach is going to be with you every time, and he will help you to achieve your dreams. You will get a study planner which will be customized for you. You will get the expert guidelines who have already topped the examination. They will be basically hand holding you to crack the examination. So if you think you are not self motivated, if you think you do not have the proper background to crack any particular competitive examination, so this Iconic subscription is must for you. This is going to help you. So if you want the free education, then YouTube channel and the special classes are must for you. And if you can afford a little bit, how much you should afford, that we'll discuss in a while. But if you can afford a little bit, you should come on to this Unacademy Plus. And more than that, if you want the expedited process in your preparation, आप जल्दी से एग्जाम निकालना चाहते हैं, जल्दी से अपनी गलतियां सुधारना चाहते हैं, so this Iconic subscription is for you. Then now let us start today's lecture, which is on the communication system. So now let us start the lecture. Hello friends. So in the last lecture we studied about the frequency calculations in FM. In this class we will discuss about the phase calculations in FM. So the unit of KF we have already decided as radian per volt second.
So the general expression or the definition of Fm that we will use is omega c plus kf mt. Now to calculate theta it, we will integrate both the sides. So we will get omega ct plus kf integration of mt dt minus infinity to t. So this will be the theta it. Now if I will compare it with our expression omega ct plus delta phi t. So first of all, we need to know what is the value of phase deviation. So the phase deviation will become delta phi t and it will become kf minus infinite to t mt dt. Again, what will be the value of maximum phase deviation? So to calculate the maximum phase deviation, first of all we will take its modulus and then we will calculate its maximum value. So it will become kf mod of integration of minus infinite to t mt dt max. So in phase calculation only these two parameters are important. Also sometimes it is asked the general expression of Fm. So the general expression of Fm in this case will become AC cos theta it, and theta it we just calculated as omega ct plus kf integration of mt dt minus infinite to t. So the general expression for Fm comes out to be AC cos omega ct plus kf integration of mt dt. So this is the general expression of Fm. Now let us discuss about the another definition when kf it is in hertz per volt. So when kf has unit of hertz per volt, we can start the definition from fit. So it will become fc plus kf mt. Now first point, what is the value of frequency deviation? So this we can compare it with fc plus delta ft. So this is the frequency deviation and it comes out to be kf mt and this unit will be hertz. Second, what is the maximum value of delta ft? It becomes kf mt max. What is the minimum value of delta ft? The minimum value becomes kf mt min. And fourth point is important, that is maximum frequency deviation. So maximum frequency deviation, this represents deviation in positive direction. This represents deviation in negative direction. Now out of these, which will be the maximum will represent the maximum frequency deviation. So the maximum frequency deviation is magnitude of ft, and after that which value will be maximum is considered as maximum frequency deviation. So it comes out to be kf mod of mt max. And again, to calculate the delta ft max after taking its mod, we need to calculate maximum of delta ft max modulus comma delta ft min modulus. So out of this, which will be the maximum, that will represent the delta ft mod max value. So next point is maximum instantaneous frequency. So the maximum instantaneous frequency will become fc plus delta ft max. What will be the minimum instantaneous frequency? The minimum instantaneous frequency becomes fc plus delta ft min. And another important parameter sometimes asked as peak to peak frequency deviation. So to calculate peak to peak frequency deviation, what you need to calculate is delta ft peak to peak, and it will represent delta ft max minus delta ft min. So it becomes kf mt max minus mt min. And lastly, the important term, that is deviation ratio or modulation index. So the deviation ratio or modulation index becomes beta equal to maximum frequency deviation, that is mod of delta ft max upon f max. It becomes kf mod of mt max upon f max, where f max represents maximum frequency component of mt or baseband message signal. So these are all frequency related calculations. Next we will calculate phase calculations. So we have already decided kf as hertz per volt. So the definition we will start with will be fit is equal to fc plus kf mt. I will multiply with 2 pi on both the sides, so it will become 2 pi fc plus 2 pi kf mt, or this can be written as omega it equal to omega c plus 2 pi kf mt. Now I will integrate it on both the sides, so it will become 2 pi kf integration of mt dt. So this will become theta it equal to omega ct plus 2 pi kf integration of minus infinity to dt. So to write the general expression of fm, I can write AC cos theta it or AC cos omega ct plus 2 pi kf integration of mt dt minus infinite to t. So this will be the expression for fm. Now let us compare the expression of theta it with theta it equal to omega ct plus delta phi t. So delta phi t will become here 2 pi kf minus infinity to t mt dt, and it will represent the phase deviation. So what will be the maximum phase deviation? Again, the maximum phase deviation will be, we will take first of all its modulus, then we will calculate the maximum value. So it will become 2 pi kf minus infinity to t mt dt and its maximum value. So the bottom line is, in problems we have to judge first of all unit of kf, and if it is radian per volt second, then we will have to use the definition of Fm as omega I is a function of t plus kf mt, and rest all the things you should calculate from here. So you don't need to remember all the formulas, you just need to remember this basic definition. And if in the problems kf is given as hertz per volt, in that particular case start your solution from this particular definition of Fm and accordingly derive all the results. So you don't need to remember all the formulas which we discussed, you just need to remember these 2 points, that check the unit of kf and proceed accordingly. Now let us try to calculate all the parameters of frequency and phase when message signal is single tone sinusoidal signal. So now in this case I am assuming that my m of t is am cos omega mt, and the maximum frequency component of message signal will be Fm. To start the discussion, let me assume the unit of kf. So the unit of kf for the discussion I am assuming as hertz per volt. So the message signal can also be written as am cos 2 pi fmt. Now let us start the discussion. First of all, we have to calculate the frequency calculation. So since we have decided the unit of kf already, that is hertz per volt, we will start from fit. So it will become fc plus kf mt, and mt we have already chosen as am cos 2 pi fmt. So very first calculation, that is frequency deviation, comes out to be kf mt, or I can write it as kf am cos 2 pi fmt, after comparing this with fc plus delta ft. Second, what is the maximum value of delta ft? So the maximum value will be plus 1 for this term cos 2 pi fmt, so it becomes kf am, or it represents frequency deviation in positive direction. Similarly, I need to calculate minimum frequency deviation. So it becomes kf am minus, because the minimum value of cos theta is minus 1 and the maximum value is plus 1. So this represents the frequency deviation in negative direction. And fourth important point is maximum frequency deviation. So to calculate the maximum frequency deviation, first of all I will take mod of this. So it will become kf am mod of cos 2 pi fmt, and we have to calculate its maximum value. So we know that mod of cos theta has minimum value of 0 and maximum value of 1. So it becomes kf am, that is maximum frequency deviation. Next point, we have to calculate peak to peak frequency deviation. So peak to peak frequency deviation becomes delta ft max minus delta ft min. So in this particular case it becomes 2 kf am, or 2 times the maximum frequency deviation. Sixth important point is we need to calculate maximum value of instantaneous frequency. So it becomes fc plus delta ft max, or I can write it as fc plus kf am. Seventh important point which we need to calculate is minimum value of instantaneous frequency. So it becomes Fc plus delta Ft minimum, or it becomes Fc minus Kf am. Eighth important point is modulation index for Fm or deviation ratio. So it becomes mod of delta Ft max upon F max, and it becomes Kf am upon Fm. So this is the value of beta. So all these parameters are frequency related parameters. So now let us calculate the phase related calculation. So we have assumed Kf as Hertz per volt. So we will start with Fit equal to Fc plus Kf mt. We will multiply 2 pi on both the sides. So it will become omega it equal to omega c plus 2 pi Kf mt. Now if we will integrate both the sides, so it will become theta it equal to omega ct plus 2 pi Kf integration of mt dt. Now let me put the value of mt dt. It will become 2 pi Kf integration of am cos omega mt dt. So the integration of cos will become sine, and it comes out to be omega ct plus 2 pi Kf upon omega m sine omega mt dt. Now theta it can be written as omega ct plus 2 pi Kf am upon 2 pi Fm sine omega mt. This 2 pi gets cancelled out, and theta it becomes omega ct plus Kf am upon Fm sine omega mt. We have already calculated the value of beta in case of Fm, and that comes out to be Kf am upon Fm. So I can replace this quantity with beta. So the instantaneous angle becomes omega ct plus beta sine omega mt. So what can be the general expression of Fm? The general expression of Fm will be AC cos theta it, or you can write it as AC cos omega ct plus beta sine omega mt. So this you need to remember when message signal is single tone sinusoidal signal. So now let us observe again, theta it becomes omega ct plus beta sine omega mt. So I will compare it with omega ct plus delta phi t. So from here the phase deviation becomes beta sine omega mt, and the maximum phase deviation becomes beta times maximum value of modulus of sine. We know that magnitude of sine theta lies between 0 to 1. So the maximum phase deviation comes out to be equal to beta. So now let me write down the summary. If carrier signal is AC cos omega ct and message signal is AM cos omega mt, both has cos variants. In that particular case, the general expression of Fm can be written as AC cos omega ct plus beta sine omega mt. So this is very important relation. This relation you must remember. Now let us discuss 2-3 important parameters. First important parameter is maximum frequency deviation. So maximum frequency deviation was Kf am. or we can write that maximum frequency deviation in case of FM is directly proportional to AM, or as AM increases, delta FT increases. So I'm writing this that delta F1 upon this, I'm denoting it as delta F. So from here you can write delta F1 upon delta F2 equal to AM1 upon AM2. Second important parameter is beta. So beta was delta FT max upon F max, or it comes out to be KF AM upon FM. So we can write beta is directly proportional to AM by FM, or beta 1 upon beta 2 can be written as AM1 FM2 upon AM2 FM1. And third important parameter is maximum phase deviation, which I am denoting it as delta phi. So it is always equal to beta, and you can write delta phi 1 upon delta phi 2 equal to beta 1 upon beta 2 equal to AM1 FM2 upon AM2 FM1. So these are few important results which you should keep in mind. Now let us discuss the phase modulation. So we have already discussed about the phase modulation. So let me write the definition of phase modulation. So phase modulation is, it is the type of angle modulation in which instantaneous angle of the modulated signal varies in accordance with baseband message signal or baseband modulating signal because the instantaneous phase deviation delta phi t varies linearly with message signal m of t, or we can write that delta phi t should be directly proportional to mt, or delta phi t is equal to kp mt. So this is the definition of PM signal. So what is the definition of PM signal? The definition of PM signal is that the instantaneous phase deviation should be equal to kp mt. We know that theta it equal to omega ct plus delta phi t. So theta it can be written as omega ct plus kp mt. So the general expression for PM signal becomes AC cos theta it, or it becomes AC cos omega ct plus kp mt. So this is the general expression for PM signal. Now let me come to the phase calculation. So the general expression or the definition of phase modulated signal becomes theta it equal to omega ct plus kp mt. So this is the definition which we will be using. Now let us come to the units. The unit of this angle will be radian. This is also angle form, it is in radian. This is volt. So Kp will be in radian per volt. So in case of Kf, we had two units, that is radian per volt second and hertz per volt. While in case of Kp, we will have only one unit, that is radian per volt. So there is only one standard definition, and that definition we will be using like this. So our standard definition for Pm becomes omega Ct plus Kp mt, and we can always compare this definition with delta phi t. So in this case, we need to do the phase calculations. So the unit of Kp is always fixed radian per volt, so we need not to check in the questions. According to that, we can always write this expression omega Ct plus Kp mt. So we'll compare this expression with our standard expression, that is omega Ct plus delta phi t, and first term, which is phase deviation, comes out to be delta phi t equal to Kp mt, and second term which we will calculate from here is maximum phase deviation. So maximum phase deviation becomes mod of delta phi t and its maximum value. So it becomes Kp mod of mt max. Now we need to do the frequency calculations. So the unit of Kp is always fixed to radian per volt. So we will start with general expression of Pm. It will be theta it is equal to omega Ct plus Kp mt. Now we will differentiate both the sides. So after differentiating, it becomes instantaneous angular frequency omega c plus Kp dmt by dt. Now we will compare this omega it is equal to omega c plus Kp dmt by dt with omega c plus delta omega t. So the first term, which is frequency deviation, in Fm becomes delta omega t equal to Kp dmt by dt. Second, maximum value of frequency deviation becomes Kp dmt by dt max. It represents deviation in positive direction. Third important parameter is delta omega t min. It represents deviation in negative direction. Now fourth important parameter is maximum frequency deviation. So maximum frequency deviation will be maximum value of these two after taking the mod. So I'm taking the mod and then calculating the maximum value. So it becomes Kp mod of dmt by dt max. So first of all, we will take the mod of dmt by dt and we will calculate its max. Sometimes it is also written as Kp magnitude of slope of mt. We will calculate slope of all the portions, we will take its mod and then we will calculate its maximum value. Fifth important point is peak to peak frequency deviation. So peak to peak frequency deviation becomes delta omega t max minus delta omega t min. It becomes Kp dmt by dt max minus Kp dmt by dt min. Next important parameter is maximum value of instantaneous frequency. So it becomes omega c plus delta omega t max, or which comes out to be omega c plus Kp dmt by dt max. Seventh point is minimum value of instantaneous frequency. It comes out to be delta omega t min, and it can be written as Kp dmt by dt minimum value. And last point is frequency deviation or deviation ratio or modulation index. So beta pm will become mod of delta omega t max upon omega max. And it will become Kp mod of dmt by dt max upon omega max, where omega max represents maximum frequency component of mt. Now let us calculate all these parameters when message signal is single tone sinusoidal signal. So in this case, I am assuming my signal m of t to be am cos omega mt, and the maximum frequency component which it has is equal to omega m. So now let us calculate the frequency calculations. We know that unit of Kp I am taking as radian per volt. So the general expression for Pm becomes omega Ct plus Kp mt. So I will compare it with omega Ct plus delta phi t. So delta phi t comes out to be Kp mt. So the phase deviation becomes Kp am cos omega mt. And what will be the maximum phase deviation? It will be Kp am mod of cos omega mt, its maximum value. We know that mod of cos theta lies between 0 to 1, or delta phi t max comes out to be Kp am. Now we also need to calculate the frequency calculations. So for frequency calculations, we also need to calculate the frequency calculation. The frequency calculations can be done if I assume my Kp to be radian per volt. So the general expression for Pm comes out to be theta it equal to omega Ct plus Kp mt. So I will calculate omega it, so I will differentiate both the sides, and it will give us the instantaneous angular frequency. So it becomes omega c plus Kp dmt by dt. So I can compare this with omega c plus delta omega t, and the first calculation, which is the frequency deviation, it comes out to be Kp dmt by dt, and whenever I will differentiate this signal m of t, which is am cos omega mt, it comes out to be kp am omega m sin omega mt. We know that if the graph of sin theta is like this, then its maximum value is 1 and minimum value is minus 1. So what will be the graph of minus sin theta? The graph of minus sin theta will be something like this. In this case also it will have maximum value of 1 and minimum value of minus 1. So secondly, I need to calculate the deviation in positive direction, and it will come out to be kp am omega m. Second, we need to calculate deviation in negative direction, so it will be minus kp am omega m, because whether it will be sin theta or minus sin theta, both has maximum value as 1 and minimum value as minus 1. Now what is the maximum frequency deviation? So maximum frequency deviation. Maximum frequency deviation is mod of delta omega t and its maximum value. So it becomes kp am omega m and mod of minus sin omega mt maximum value. So we know that the delta omega t max comes out to be kp am omega m. Fifth important point is, what is the peak to peak frequency deviation? So peak to peak frequency deviation is delta omega t max minus delta omega t min. So it comes out to be 2 times kp am omega m, or 2 into maximum frequency deviation. Now in this case also, what is the value of maximum instantaneous frequency? So it will become omega c plus delta omega t max, and it comes out to be omega c plus kp am omega m. Similarly, what is the minimum value of instantaneous frequency? So the minimum value of instantaneous frequency is omega c plus delta omega t minimum, and it comes out to be omega c minus kp am omega m. Now last important factor, that is deviation ratio or modulation index in case of PM. So it becomes maximum frequency deviation upon maximum value of frequency component of message signal. So it becomes kp am omega m, and maximum frequency component is omega m. So omega m gets cancelled out, and beta pm comes out to be kp am, which is nothing but the maximum phase deviation. So in case of single tone modulation, the maximum phase deviation is always equal to the deviation ratio. So what can we write it as? What is the summary? When C of t is given as AC cos omega ct and M of t is given as AM cos omega mt. So what will be the general expression of PM? It will be AC cos omega ct plus kp mt. So I will put the value of mt. It will become AC cos omega ct plus kp am cos omega mt. And we have already proved that this kp am is nothing but beta of phase modulated signal. So the general expression of PM becomes AC cos omega ct plus beta PM cos omega mt. So this is the general expression you must remember. So when CT has cost variant, MT has cost variant, then outside is also cost and inside is also cost. In case of FM, outside was cost and inside was sign. Next summary here, you know that the delta phi T max in case of PM, which I am denoting as delta phi equal to Kp AM, or I can write that delta phi is directly proportional to AM, or you can write delta phi 1 upon delta phi 2 will be equal to AM1 upon AM2. Similarly, the maximum frequency deviation delta omega was Kp AM omega m. So maximum frequency deviation is directly proportional to AM omega m, or I can write delta omega 1 upon delta omega 2 equal to AM1 omega m1 upon AM2 omega m2. And what about beta? Beta equal to Kp AM. So you can write beta 1 upon beta 2 equal to AM1 upon AM2. So that is it, guys, and this discussion was very important, so listen it carefully and try to remember it. Thank you.
So if you have liked today's lecture and you want to subscribe to Unacademy Plus, the very first thing that you should understand that you should use this particular code. What is the code? The code is Vishal Gate. Write my name and attach Gate to it. So by using this particular code, you will be getting all the advantages of the Unacademy Plus. All the added advantages will be directly assigned to you. Secondly, you will directly come to under my guidance, and that will surely help you to crack the examination in the least possible time, and you will also get the guidance of the complete team. Okay, and the most important thing is that you will immediately get the 10% discount on that. So immediately you are enabled to get 10% discount once you use this coupon code. So for example, if you talk about the plus subscription, which is costing you 25,000 for 1 year, and if you use this coupon code Vishalgate, immediately you are going to get 10% discount, which is 22,500. And if you talk about the iconic, for the iconic subscription of the 12 month, this will cost you around 40,400. So these are the cost of the 12 months. And if you want to talk about the 2-year subscription, cost of the plus, it is your 27,000 after discount. If you want more discount than 10%, and you have already attended the special classes, then you will be having some credits in your account. Do not forget to use those credits so that you can get more discount than 10%. Now how can you pay these amounts? So there is one good news for you, that you can pay this amount by using credit cards and debit cards by using the facility of the zero cost EMI. So if you want to pay this particular amount of 22,500 with the help of zero cost EMI, so the zero cost EMI can be availed by using credit cards and debit cards. Remember, you can use the credit card of any company, but the debit card is allowed for HDFC and the Bajaj Finserv. Apart from that, if you want to directly pay this much of amount, you think that this particular amount is the most affordable fees that can be provided to you for 1 year subscription, तो आप directly क्या कर सकते हैं? You can use this credit card, debit card, direct payment. You can also go for the EMI options, okay, and you can directly pay this amount by using net banking. Every time you think of the Unacademy Plus subscription, the first thing that should come in your mind is this particular code. Do not forget to use this code once you take the subscription, because I have already told you that this particular coupon code is going to give you the lot of advantages, so you cannot miss the opportunity to use this code. So every student who want to come on to the Unacademy Plus, they want to take the advantages of the Unacademy Plus, they want to empower themselves in the best possible manner in this digital era, they want to be the part of this revolution, then this is the time for you. You do not have to wait for it. If you are in the first year, if you are in the second year, you are in the third year, the best possible time is right now to prepare for the examination, to dedicate yourself, to give yourself the opportunity so that you can get the success as early as possible. Apart from that, you should also join this GATE aspirant group. So this GATE aspirants group is already having 150k plus students, so you can join it. There are a lot of discussions going on between students. You can get the advantage of those discussions. Okay. You can also join this Kreatryx channel. which is a Telegram channel. So everyone has to join this channel so that you can get all the PDFs of the lecture which is being assigned to you. Fine. There are various channels which you can go for it. So various channels in the association with Kreatryx. So you can follow the channel of your interest. And this is it in today's lecture. So let us meet in the next lecture. Thank you so much.